In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use filters in order to exaggerate motion in your image and then also to mask that off using the gradient tool mask so it's a little bit more subtle. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is make a copy of your background by dragging and dropping that to your new layer icon. And let's go ahead and call this retouch. Okay. Of course, on your retouch layers where you're going to want to do any kind of actual manipulating of the photograph, you want to do all of that first before you go and you add your filter to sort of fake your motion. So we're going to make a copy of our retouch, and we're going to actually call this, just call it filter. You can rename it whatever specific filter you decide to use later, because you may want to experiment a little bit with this. So I'm going to go up to filter, and I'm going to scroll down to blur. And keep in mind too that I'm just showing you how to do this in terms of motion, but you can use any of these filters right here and apply masks to them to deactivate them where you don't want them to be to create cool effects as well. So just keep that in mind. But we're going to go to blur, and then we're going to scroll down to motion blur just for this effect. So I want to make it look like the oil is actually starting to drip a little bit, so I'm actually going to change the angle of my motion blur. If you adjust the distance, that will kind of exaggerate the motion blur itself. So I'm going to pull it up fairly high, maybe 200, and click OK. And of course, I don't want this to be applied to my entire image, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to go over here to my layers panel, and I'm going to actually add a mask to this photograph to deactivate that filter. So when you click on an adjustment, a mask automatically attaches to that adjustment. But when you make a copy of a photograph or you add a photograph to your layers panel, it does not have a mask to it, but you can add one. So that's actually this rectangle with this open circle right here. So I've just added a mask. So now I'm going to go over, I'm going to get my gradient tool. I've got a black to white gradient selected, and I'm actually going to swipe to apply this mask. And I actually want to swipe from top to bottom on this image. So what it looks like is happening is it looks like this oil is like very slowly starting to kind of drip down here. And you can see that the change is really nice and subtle because I've used the gradient tool mask. This is really cool if you're doing like panning shots of someone riding a bicycle or a motorcycle and they're zooming off to the left and you want to kind of exaggerate that. You can do that by using this filter. But of course you can use any filters that you like to create more sort of graphic effects to your images.